What's up, family? Peace. We got outside vibes today. I don't got my purple going on, but that's cool. That's good. I've been trying to keep the branding and keep the theme for Sacred Conversation. So if y'all have tapped in over the last 3 weeks, we're on week number 4. Yay for consistency. Boo, 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 boo. Yay for showing up for my damn self. Boo, 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 boo. Week number 4, back to back to back. I'm so proud of myself for remaining consistent and committed to showing up every single week. And this week, I get to talk to my business partner, my soul sister, my creative the person that has just sparked inspiration and creativity in me in a new way and on a new level in this season of my life. And I'm so grateful to have her a part of my story and a part of my journey as I continue to grow and expand our synergy and our alignment and our shared history. And the reflection of our journey is so real and is so raw. And it has been such an honor to create alongside her in this chapter. And this girl keep me on my toes. She keep me on my toes. She keep me sharp. She teaches me so much. I learn so much from her. And it's a space of just mutual collaboration and respect. And I'm so grateful to have her on this sacred conversation, Trailblazing the Uncharted. And today we're going to be talking about what it looks like to be a visionary, what it looks like to carry the seed of a vision that others cannot see, and to walk the path uncharted, to walk the path that many are too afraid to walk the path that requires great sacrifice. What does that look like? And what did we both have to endure before getting to a point where we collided and met each other in a shared and similar path of expansion? And we're going to talk about what that looks like. And I'm sure we're going to just let the conversation flow and grow as we connect with one another. I want to just say thank you to everyone that has been consistently watching the replays, showing up every week to engage in the conversations, tapping into my
Always,
always vibes every
always.
time.
How are you?
Yes. Oh, I'm so good. How are you?
Good. I was getting my little cleansing on and just taking in all the words that you were saying and just living it and just like reminiscing on just like the path that we already have like journeyed together.
Yeah.
Um, Put me through that already with just like 2 minutes of you
Oh,
talking.
oh.
Love
It's
it.
been a journey for sure.
Really happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I'm so grateful to have you on here for sure. And we have Herbert. What's up, Herbert? Asking what's happening.
What's
So
up?
this is week number 4 of Sacred Conversations, a series that I have been doing on my IG Live. And this week we have my soul sister, my business partner, Ray, jumping on so that we can just talk about what the path of, honestly, it's entrepreneurship, business ownership, creativity, but it's so much deeper than that. Like, that is the external expression of our purpose in the way that it shows up, but it goes so much deeper than how we show up with what we do. It's really about the path that we walked that was uncharted, the path that we went first on. We didn't really have much guidance in getting to where we have gotten to, right? And so it's like, what does trailblazing a path that is unfamiliar looks like? How do you navigate that? How do you step outside the boxes and the constraints that have been placed on us and create something that hasn't been created before? So that's really what the depths of the conversation
Right.
is. But of course, we'll talk business,
Yes.
we'll talk
Yes.
love, we'll talk life,
Yes.
because that's who we are. We're full beings living in the full expression of ourselves. And so,
Exactly. But
yeah.
I love that. You know, I know that that's what we were talking about, but even in just like my experiences in like the past couple of weeks, I've been getting a lot of just messages on like reflection of that path, and like how people don't really understand it, you
Yeah.
know, and you're doing something for the first time, especially in your family lineage or in your city's lineage or whatever that case may be, it starts to become you're doing a lot of things wrong, but it's really just like trial and error.
Yeah.
It's really trying to look to this. We didn't we didn't get that.
Yeah.
Reading the manual as we go, so then the generation after us could be able to take that in and be able to be guided in whatever kind of way too. So
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I started reading Rich Dad Poor Dad
mm.
recently. So good, so good. First of all, so good. But something of what you just said reminds me of something I actually read in the book this morning, where he was talking about how having
Mm.
contrasting experiences gives you the opportunity to choose which path works best for you. But when you only have one choice, right? We only had one example to choose from. The only thing that we're able to do is either accept it or reject it. But there's nothing on the other side of the rejection if you don't have another option. And so a lot of times what people see, what they're witnessing,
Mm.
is us rejecting a reality that did not align with us, a reality that we're like, this isn't it, this isn't enough. And they're watching us create a
Right.
brand new reality because we didn't have another one to choose from. Of course, that shit is messy. What else would it be?
Of course it is. Of course it is. And you know what's crazy too is I've been realizing too is like, especially, and no knock on anybody else's journey, but it's just when you are trailblazing that path, right? And you're on that path and you're figuring it out and you're testing and trialing things, most of the time you're doing it in a realm where other people can't see. And so they're looking at you as you're failing, but it's actually their failures. If
Yeah,
that's gonna
yeah,
fit back over there, because me personally, I don't look at them as
yeah.
failures. They're just learning every single time. I'm learning.
Every single time.
That's how it's being viewed, and that's how it's being viewed. And it's like it's like that battle of like, okay, I want inner peace. I want to be able to move and do whatever I want to do, but I also know doing that is also gonna like have a lot of the other side where people have their inputs and their opinions on what I'm doing and how I'm doing it wrong. For
Yeah.
just the a different perspective. Like, there's so many other perspectives, but
First,
for me,
yeah.
like that's what it is, and
Yeah.
like that's I feel like that's been my whole life.
Yeah. Same. A quote that really like helped me because I was caught in that as well, and for a really long time, like outside opinions affected me.
Yeah,
So imagine being, I know you're gonna get it, but I want to paint the picture for those
yeah,
listening.
absolutely.
Imagine being a trailblazer, someone who is rewriting a narrative, someone who is stepping out in faith blindly
Mm,
with very little tools and resources, betting on yourself that you can create something more than the reality that you were giving, and
right.
then being oppressed by the very community that claims to love you, and having to push through that while still holding deep love for your community and doing it for the benefit of your community, and have that same group of people pull you down, criticize you, tell you you're doing it wrong, tell you it's not going to
Right.
work, tell you all of these different things, and to continue pushing forward anyways.
Oh
And
man.
so for a long time, I carried that and also carried the burden and the weight of deeply caring about what these people had to say. So it had a deep impact. So all of the criticism, the negativity, I'm trying to carry forth this mantle. I'm trying to walk forward on a path of liberation and freedom, not only for myself, but for the people that surround me as well. And I care so much, so I'm affected. But then I heard this quote, girl.
Oh, tell me, girl. Tell me. Let it rain on
I
me.
heard
And
this
my
quote.
can be family. That community can be your city. That community can be it's whatever community that's around you for the people that
Yeah.
not just
Your
it
church.
could be your church. It could be whatever thing that is influencing you that has deep impact on your energy.
Yeah.
But as
Yeah. Yeah. The quote. So what I heard, and this was from somebody that that had what I wanted. He said, girl, why would you ever listen to the advice, the criticism, and the feedback from someone who's living a life that you do not want to live? You don't want what they have, so why would you do it the way that they're doing it? And I was like, oh,
right.
Oh, cat got my tongue. You right. You are right. You are correct. I would take the sharpening and the chisel dagger to the heart, because you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong.
Isn't it amazing to receive that those kind of messages and those kind of that kind of advice per se from people who have what you want, from people who you look at and you're like, wow, like that's where I want to be at, and they offer something, because that's then you start to question, what is community?
What is love?
What is love? What is that? Then you start to wonder, and you're like, hold on here, because I always have said this is like, because growing up, taking advice from people, when people are like, oh, you got to do it this way, you're gonna do. I don't even know. What do you mean? Because
what do you mean?
Then I don't have any kind of like attention span for it. If you are, I have this.
Yeah.
I'm hard-headed back then. We grew. But I noticed that you know, it's people, the kind of advice that impacts your energy is really just a shared experience.
Yeah.
Who you look up to in whatever kind of way in that moment, or whether it's for a long period of time, but it's something that you look at and you're like, wow, I want those things. I'm working towards those things. How did you? And then those kind of people, what I've noticed, at least in my journey, the things that I've wanted, the people that I've met that are really living that path, they never gave me advice. They just they said, hey, what I did when I tried this. Or I remember I went through this trial and tribulation during that time, so just be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've had this very big thing with like when people try to like tell me what to do, especially us being women.
Exactly. Yeah.
Rooms, knowing who the fuck we are and knowing what we can give to that room, and we still have to kind of be like, hi, hello.
Maybe we should. Have you considered doing it this way? Possibly. It might help. Nah, nigga, it's gonna help. It's gonna help.
So it's always so funny, like, being able to do that. But I've noticed those rooms had a lot more opinion-based energy, where it's like,
that's good.
Versus people that I actually look up to and people that I want to work towards their lifestyle or the things that they have, whatever the case may be, but I see they have it. And I'm like, how did you get there? And it's never a hard, like, this is what you have to do, and if you don't do it this way, it's not going to work. It's never always been an experience. It's almost like they don't have time to even argue with you. They don't have time to even set like that hard of a boundary, or that hard of like that's what it is, because energy of like, I've been through that before. I know what you're
And I think also, like, as you evolve and you learn and you get to the point of being able to offer like wisdom or offer guidance, you realize that there isn't only one path. So it's like there is no hard, this is the way that it has to get done. Because because you begin to meet so many other successful people, so many other people who are visionaries, trailblazers, walking the path uncharted, and you hear their stories and you're like, oh shit, you got there in a completely different way than I got here. And your way worked. So you're able to expand your mind to be able to see the infinite possibilities. In the realm of like sacred success lies infinite possibilities. And so it's never about like what you should or shouldn't do. The best mentors or the best people that have like passed through my life at the perfect time, they always asked the right question. They always knew what to ask, and the question was always posed in a way that led me to the truth.
Oh, girl.
And a lot of times it felt harsh, or even like the statement of it was a question. Why would you? Why would you listen to somebody? It wasn't don't listen to somebody who doesn't have what you have, because I would have probably bucked up against it, kind of like my defense mechanism would have kicked on. He was genuinely like, why would you do that? I don't understand. Why would you listen to somebody who doesn't have what you want to have guide you? to get to
Yeah.
where.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? I'm like, oh, now I'm thinking for myself.
Exactly.
Why would I do that?
Exactly.
Now I'm asking questions. Well, what did you do?
Exactly.
How did you get there? You
Exactly. And
know?
that too, like thinking for yourself. That's a
Yeah.
big part of it. That's a big part of this, and I feel like you have to practice that because
Yeah.
with our environments, especially nowadays, like I give it to the kids going in high school and middle school and all that stuff right now because it's like it's so many influences
Yeah.
happening constantly,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
we're just able. I don't know. It's just like within all those influences, where do you find your decision making for,
Mm.
for who you are, for what
Mm.
Ray wants, not for what
Mm-hmm.
my mom wants or what my friends want, but what does Ray want out of this, and how does she stand on it? Cool.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
I realized like that took time. That took
Yeah.
so much time. But
Yeah.
pivotal point of the journey of the trailblazing aspect, or like
Mm-hmm.
starting into a new dream, into new destiny,
Yeah. Yeah.
living. You know what I mean? So that's a very important part, and I like that you brought that.
Mm. Yeah. It's interesting. The what the experience was not what I thought the experience was going to be. And it's almost like nothing can prepare you for the
Yeah.
experience. It's meant to be experienced. And for me, in sharpening my like intuition of like trusting myself while also balancing my ability to learn. So
Mm.
it was this like refining of learning how to take in information, learning how to receive information through my experiences, through education, through watching and observing other people, whether I was observing them do what I don't want to do, or whether I was observing them doing what I do want to do. All these different lessons that were coming in,
Right.
learning how to take them all in and then filter them through me
Yep.
so that they come out unique. They come out as an expression of like my soul without, because before I was so hard headed and so stubborn where it's like I didn't hear anybody
Yep.
but myself, but I didn't know
Yeah.
shit.
I didn't
And
know it.
so I didn't know shit. So I'm over here making like decisions. I remember like in hindsight, like years later, I'm like, oh, that's what they meant.
Yep.
After I done walked into a wall
A few.
because I wasn't listening and I was holding on so hard to my own identity.
Right.
Think for yourself. I
Right.
will not be conformed,
Right.
you know, like it's got to be soft. It's not this like aggressive, I must protect myself against the man. Like, no,
Yeah.
no, soften into your intuition, soften into who you are, but also be open and receptive to receiving everything that's around you.
Yeah.
Because there's lessons in all of it, but you get to decide and discern what the lesson is and how
Exactly.
to use the lesson. That's where your power comes.
Exactly.
And so that was
I was about
word.
to say. I was like, that was a lot of work for me. I still feel like it triggers every now and again, and I know the hard headedness that took the most work for me.
Mm-hmm.
Just I feel like just in my Leo energy and just like self, and I'm like, man, fuck all y'all. I could do whatever I want to do, and I do it the way I want to do it, and it works. But it also, I felt like I took a long journey trying
Yeah.
to. I was like, it took me a little bit longer to get to where I wanted to be at with peace and with love and with kindness,
Yeah.
and receive the blessings that I know that I can receive after the lessons. It was like
Yeah.
over again when someone gave me the notes.
The
They were like, hey,
blueprint.
blueprint,
They're like, here you go.
how it is. And I was like, no, I'm gonna do it my own way because I gotta do it. And realizing, I mean, later on after reading so many books and doing so much work in like the what the higher levels of living and mental states, I realized like I had no idea is mine. So
That part.
me sitting there trying to cultivate this like amazing idea that's like no one else has touched before. It's like, no, that's not how this works. Like
Yeah.
others, you have to take and you have to hear
Yeah.
these things. And
Yeah.
that I did, but I know I could have like gotten a little bit through it a little bit faster, or I would even say like with a little bit more grace.
Smoother. It would smoother. Like it was so tumultuous. Like it was a lot of chaos. Just I'm like, you didn't have to be like that. I laugh. Like I think back at my life, and there's some shit that ain't funny. That's just not funny. Like what I went through was not funny. But that shit is funny. Like, girl, why did you do that? Why did you put yourself through that?
I have so many embarrassing shit that I think back on. I'd be like, damn, Ray, like, oh, you sounded so dumb in front of these people. Like, what the fuck were you even saying?
Girl, me and my mom were having a conversation the other day, and she was processing some of her old things. So she was in like 2021 bringing up shit I did in 2021. I'm like, girl, well,
I don't know.
You ain't wrong. Like I'm the shit. Man, I'm sorry again. That ain't who I am anymore, though. And I'm not going to continue. I'm not going to harbor or hold on to the mistakes that were required for me to be who I am today. I refuse. I refuse to do it. But as she was talking, I'm like, ooh, yikes. Damn, that was me. What else I do? I'm like, ooh, I was like, I'm eating fucking popcorn. I'm like, damn. Ooh, I didn't know.
Yeah, no, but I get it though, because it's like we have to go through that, but I had to learn how to forgive myself for all of that
in
ways, and I still do it. Like some nights, like that shit'll like keep me up at night.
Yeah.
Thinking about all the things that I've done and that I've said, and the times that I've like didn't listen or whatever the case may be, and the mistakes that I've made. And I sometimes I really have to sit and meditate on it. Like, hey Ray, okay, forgive yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes I whatever, because I know that some people are only gonna look at me that way.
Yeah.
And that I have this nothing I can do about the way that I presented myself in those moments.
Period.
All I could do is be a better person, or think better, or try to be better, and in whatever case that may be, and hope that people just recognize me for the actions that I have. But also the reality is that people aren't.
And they're also not obligated to, because they had a real experience with me.
Exactly.
That was a real experience, and they're not the same way. I'm not obligated to offer that to anyone else either. Exactly. And it's like, it's all love, it's all grace. Like there's no, and I think it all comes down to like acceptance on both ends, because once you like begin to create boundaries for yourself, and you begin to draw lines in the way that you relate to others, you better understand other people drawing lines and boundaries with you. And so you're able to just allow things to be what they are without like, it just doesn't, everything is what it is, right? So like, regardless, it exists. Like the reality of the situation exists. It's when we resist what is by either trying to persuade somebody out of their experience and their feelings. We try to like coerce. People use love as a weapon to try and get people to like let go of experiences that they have had. But those are all such personal experiences, and it just comes with, as you learn to forgive yourself, you're also able to forgive others, and vice versa. And you just live in this place of grace of like, it is what it is, but I know who I am today.
Oh, exactly. And I think a big thing for like this past year has been like not having to prove myself to that either. Like, to walk in the room and say, well, I'm this person now, so respect me as such. You know what I mean?
Girl.
Right, you know what? You just gotta grow. You just gotta keep it. And if you continue to grow into those kind of spaces, and you continue to learn yourself, which continues the path on that trailblazing path, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it gives you the opportunity to learn how you can be stronger on that path. Which the day, like you want people to know, like, nah, like this is what it is. Like I'm this person now. I've changed. I've done this. I've done that. But what do you do with that?
Yeah.
Right now, try to prove that to somebody.
Yeah.
Like what's really going on here? Like what am I trying to
Proof.
prove to you?
Proof.
What am I trying to
What
trying to
am I trying to prove to myself?
prove to
What
myself?
is,
Exactly.
yeah. I realized that I had reached a very pivotal like transition in that energy when I stopped talking about my old story. When I
Mm-hmm.
stopped like in the beginning phases of this new season. So like it was probably this season, girl, has been like super fucking bad. I'm
Yeah.
like it's been June. I would say June was when the solid, like, I came out of, like, rest and
Right.
sleep and recovery.
Right.
And I was
Right.
like, okay, I'm ready to get back in the game. And I kind of, like, tiptoed in. But the progress that I've seen since June, and I tiptoed in
Yeah.
June, July, like August.
Yep.
August is when I was like, okay, so what? That's August, September, October.
Right.
Well, August and September, that's when I was like, okay,
Okay.
but not okay for me. It was just like, okay, I'm gonna show up, but I was still showing up for everybody
Yep.
else.
Yep.
October, I said, okay, I'm showing up for me. The progress that I have made is like years worth of progress in like a very short amount of time. But I
Right.
realized, and this was only recently, girl, that in the beginning, so like June to like October, until I started showing up for me. Because I don't have to prove anything to me when I'm showing up for me. But it's clicking in my head. Prior to that, I was still trying to get other people to see who I was so I can show up for them. So I
Mm-hmm.
kept retracting, kept going back to, well, I had a self-care studio before. Well, I made this amount of money in 2020. Well, I did this festival and this retreat. Kept going back and forth to all these things that I did in the past. Now I'm like, I don't even want to talk about that shit anymore. Cause the shit that I'm doing now, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what's on my to-do list today.
And let's keep building.
And let's talk about what we're building.
Hello. Hello.
And if
That's
you
so
don't, and if I need to like give you my stats in
right.
order for you to like believe what I bring to the table, I don't want to work with you anyways because you're gonna be constantly needing me to bring you stats every time we level up. Like, no, you either want to you either see me
Exactly.
when I walk in the room or you don't.
That's okay.
And that is okay. It's not my L.
That's crazy.
It's not.
It's like
Mm-hmm.
those like I know for me it was one of like doing the like in music I've done a lot, but I also feel like at what point do I let it go and continue to like move forward in the music, right? And that was a big thing, like doing the billboards and doing the shows when I was living in New York, but like coming back out here and doing these big, really big things, amazing things that I like impacted me, but also impacted the community. It's like, yeah, that's dope. But like, why do I feel like I have to prove that? And why do I feel like I have to say this or mention it in whatever kind of way to like prove a point? It's like there's no point anymore, right? Like if people
Yeah.
don't, then you need to continue to do work in whatever you're trying to do so people can know whatever you want them to know, not by your words, by your actions, you know
Period.
what I mean? And that shit is it's crazy because that's really the time that we're in right now. It's
Yeah.
like to let go of the past and
Yeah.
move forward and say, you know what? This was amazing. This time of my life was amazing. I learned so much from it, but I don't
Need
need it.
it. Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
put more and I can come back to it when need be.
Yeah.
But as I wanna clean my canvas completely.
Oh, completely.
I want it to be so white and renewed and replenished and just ready for any kind of artistic ability on it. Like I want
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And wanting that, I've noticed that I've had to let
Go.
go. Let go
Yeah. Yeah.
with my with the date night and empathy. I love those songs. Those are my
Mm, okay.
girl. I love
Okay.
love it, and I love that set. I love being able to show up and do that set. But also, I had a moment where I was like, Ray, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I
Uh,
I got through it. I've moved through it. I don't
yeah.
know what I went through anymore, and what
Yeah.
energy towards that part of my life because it hurt me so deeply. But I'm not hurt That exact.
Yeah.
I'm at now. Can I tap in? Of
Of
course.
course.
But consistency in that world, eh, eh.
I feel
Empathy,
you.
empathy is dope. I will definitely do that whenever I need to because I know it's one of those impactful songs. But I just, for me in my own personal journey, it was like letting go, and I'm like, I
I
didn't think
feel you.
it go like that. Like, now I don't want to live in that phase anymore. But I'm like, fuck
Yeah.
that. We path. We're on a new pathway, and that means that you need to create new for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so dope. Even this morning, I was telling Mo, I was like, oh, I got invited to be on a podcast.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, that's so exciting. And he's like hyping me up or whatever. And then he's like, oh, and how lucky, what did he say? He said, how lucky are they that they get to be the first one that has you in that capacity?
Ooh.
And I'm like, I know, and I get to have a moment. I know he's so
Sorry. I'm like, ooh, I love that. Go
just
ahead
let
and
that just let that slide on back.
talk. Love it. Love it.
That's my man. But there was a moment where like I was almost like, no, I've done this before, like getting like bucked up to like this isn't my first podcast.
Mm,
And he said, this is your first podcast as who you are today. I said,
Ashe.
this my fucking first podcast. Look, I don't even want the other ones. I don't even want the other ones. And no shade to anyone I did a podcast with before in the past. If we want to do another one and we vibing, I'm down. But at the same time, this is my first motherfucking podcast.
Oh, I
Because
love
I
that.
am not the same
Oh,
woman.
I love that.
I'm
Oh,
not. I'm not.
yeah.
And I'm so far from who I once was. It's like
Exactly.
I've been getting to this place, but I've reached it's when I look back it's kind of blurry.
Yeah.
That's how far I am
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that just goes right back to the trailblazing part. I feel like with people on the path that we chose, we don't grow in tiny increments. I mean, we do in our own selves, but what people receive from us
Yeah.
is like years of growth.
Yeah.
So you see me a month later, I
I,
may have been I'm gone.
I'm gone.
I have,
Yeah.
and especially
Yeah.
I also wanted to highlight like being alone during these times, right? Whether it's spiritually, mentally, physically, like that aloneness and knowing that like sometimes like you really are looking at these paths and you're seeing everybody walk down this path and they're like, oh no, we're going over here, it's cool. You see it and you like you got to go
I
down this.
can't go. I was, we're so aligned because I was on that same energy frequency and like thought of those moments where you have to walk away from environments because you know that like you have to go, like you have to leave. And I know in like reflection of everything that I've been through, once I got to a certain point, there was so much like blame that I was putting on those outside of me. But I was like, I had to go. I look back at some of those spaces and those environments, and they're still in the same place, and not in the same place in like a bad
Yeah,
or negative way, but that world, that environment that
yeah,
they've curated and cultivated, they're safe there. They enjoy being there. They love being there. That's where they're at. That's where they found home. I needed to go. I needed to uproot myself. And so to be a trailblazer who is moving at rapid pace and rapid speeds, there
mm-hmm.
are moments where you have to continue forward and walk away from good people, well-meaning people. And it's not even and people that you relate to,
Yeah,
resonate with,
yeah,
but there comes a point where that resonance is no longer there because you have ascended beyond the cap, the construct. And so to leave
yeah,
and get out of that container, that environment,
yeah.
of course all those people are going to think you're fucking crazy, and they all have each other to believe that you are crazy together, and you kind of are. And
Exactly.
so
Exactly. And I have a question for you, but I wanted to say
yeah,
it's also uh that crazy that's why I give so much grace.
yeah,
That's why I have a different perspective because I know that if I at least have that perspective, then maybe like might.
yeah,
Because it is
yeah,
walk away from those good people and those good groups and those good environments where you just don't have a
case
place
there.
there anymore. You
Mm-hmm.
it might grow into whatever it needs to be, but I never feel like I'm missing out. I just know that I feel like I would be more of a burden if I continued. If I continued, I would get the heat either way.
Either way.
So it's like one of those. But I want to ask you, like, do you ever feel guilt when you walk away from those environments?
Now,
Mm-hmm.
no.
Okay.
But then there was, I wouldn't even say it was guilt, but here's why.
Okay.
In the past I was always the type of person that held on to the bitter end. So I stayed until I couldn't
anymore. Yeah.
So it was never, and that's not healthy either. That wasn't good for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm not highly do not recommend. There should be a little red sign that pops up. Hella ghetto. Do not do. Highly do not. Caution. But I used to do that shit. And so there was no guilt because by the time I left, I didn't have anything. Yeah. And so I left broken. I was wounded. There was no room for fucking guilt because I was completely destroyed. I was identityless. I was left with I was a shell of a person. Yeah. By the time I left those spaces and those environments, because I was supposed to be growing, but I couldn't grow. It's like a pot being in, when a plant needs to be repotted. Yeah. Once it gets to it grows to a certain amount, if you leave it in that pot, that's just going to die. Yeah. And so I just kept dying. I kept like being in these spaces. And so now after, I would say it was probably like 3 cycles of like consciously realizing what was happening. Like, oh shit, I did it again. Yeah. Damn it. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh shit, I did it again. And then the last time, which was really bad, where, and I'm stubborn. I can be so fucking stubborn. And so it's like, sometimes I have to really learn the hard way. Yeah. But that one was where it was like, okay, never again. Yeah. Like, we can't keep doing this to ourselves, for the sake of love. Right. Like, this is not love. Love doesn't kill you. This is not it. And so now I come with boundaries. Yeah. I come with expectations. Mm-hmm. And so if I leave, if it gets to the point where I have to leave, it was already thoroughly communicated off jump what it is. Right. And so we both agreed. Yeah. Because I let you know. Yeah. So if I have to go, I know it's in love. I know that anytime I walk away, I'm walking away from a space of love for me and a love for you. Yeah. Yeah. And so now there's no guilt, but I also don't allow myself to die in the process either. And a big part also that I learned, that I realized that I was doing is in the past is every time, and we all do this at some capacity, whenever it came time for me to leave an environment or situation, all of a sudden the archetypes are born of hero versus the villain. Who's the hero, who's the villain? And so of course I would make everyone else the villain in my story, and of course everyone else would make me the villain in their story, because we all want to be the fucking heroes. And so once I like got to like this third point, I'm like, okay, I want to be able to walk away without casting someone as a villain in my story. There's only heroes in my story. My story. I'm not worried about anybody else's. There are only heroes in my fucking story. Yeah. And so how can I allow myself to paint that picture? Yeah. And so that does not mean that there were not wicked people in my life. Absolutely. But I had to, now there are none in my immediate circle, in my safe space. I don't run with the wicked anymore. But I had to reframe that narrative. So in the in-between of reframing that narrative, I had to like start to adopt, there are no heroes, there are no villains. We are all heroes, and we're all villains in each other's stories. Until I was like, okay, now since I want that to be true, I only want heroes in my story, then I can only roll with fucking heroes. Yeah. And so these are my boundaries. If you ain't a motherfucking hero,
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, like, and no, like, no, nothing, no.
There's so many people in this world. Everybody will find their circle.
Somebody. We ain't
really okay.
You probably ain't even gonna like me. Like, it's not even gonna be fun. It's gonna be less fun for you. I promise, you are going to hate me and hate yourself hanging out with me.
No,
Let's
that's
spare us all.
exactly. But it's because we have that foresight too.
Yeah, that as well.
Have
Yeah.
that, and we talk about this offline a lot, like about our different archetypes and the way that we can like maneuver through energy. We have that. We can see it. We can see far beyond the surface level.
Mm-hmm.
Part of us, and so yeah, no, that makes sense. Like you, and I feel like that's kind of where I've been coming to too with my circle. Like definitely
Yeah.
get down. I always was a firm believer. Like no, I love everyone. Everyone's gonna be like, just the picture perfect princess Disney movie
Yep.
and I think that I had to learn. I was like, oh Ray, you do that and then you become the villain
Yeah.
because you believe you are.
Yeah.
Because somebody has to be.
Somebody has to be.
Has to be, right? Because everyone, there's so many people that you let in that at this point, like, I mean, who's gonna take it? Ray,
Mm.
you will.
Mm. Mm.
No,
You
and
know you will.
no, you will.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. And I had to learn how to make those boundaries for myself. Of like, okay, well, let's isolate. Let's go ahead and like weed everything out, and then start listening to the body. Start listening to what your body says when you're around certain people. Ooh, that was a game changer. That shit, I was like, I didn't,
Mm-hmm.
if I didn't do the practices building up to it, I would have never believed that my body could
Tell me.
tell me
Mm-hmm.
person is
Yep.
wrong for you, whether it's romantic, friendship, whatever. Like the anxieties that I feel, like I can pinpoint it to the point now. I know there's so much more to go, but now I'm at this point where I could pinpoint it with just the anxiety feelings,
Yeah.
or if I have, or if my stomach starts turning, or if if my balance is just like not all the way my equilibrium. I can tell. Oh, I'm not supposed to be here. Oh no, we're
I
gonna
gotta
go.
go. And that's okay. I gotta go. I feel like now I'm in such a space because there's so much clarity and I'm so sure about
Yeah,
the path that I'm on. I'm so sure about the mission that
yeah,
I'm on
yeah.
that I'm like I have to protect the vision.
Man,
Like, and I am a vessel for the vision. So I have to protect myself. I I can't afford it anymore.
yeah,
I'm busy.
yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah.
busy. I'm doing something and I'm doing something really fucking important. And
Mm-hmm.
like people don't, and it's hard because we
Yeah,
know how
yeah,
important the work is that we're doing is.
right.
We know how important it is. But when you're still in the building phases, you're still in the becoming
Yeah,
stages of
yeah,
creation, everyone else around you might not see it,
yeah.
but I'm protecting a gift to this world. I am a gift.
Bruh, speak on it.
And so
Yes,
I have
yes,
to. It's
yes.
not, it's personal.
It's personal.
It's
It is.
personal. It is personal.
It is.
And so there's no room for, and it just is what it is. It just is what it is. And a lot of times the part that is unfortunate where I offer compassion and I offer grace and I offer empathy
Yeah,
is that I truly do believe a lot of times people aren't even aware of the darkness that they're carrying. They're not aware of the trauma and the pain that they are inflicting.
oh,
And I'm also at the point where I also don't have time to teach
you
you.
do.
And
Yeah,
so that's the part that makes me sad because in the last season of my life, I was
yeah,
teaching.
exactly.
And I was teaching how to get out of the darkness, but I was teaching how to get out of the darkness because I was pulling myself out of the darkness. And so now I just put my trust and my faith that there are other teachers that will carry
Yes,
that group of people,
yes,
right? That there will be resources provided by other members of the tribe who are like doing very important work in society.
absolutely.
But right now, I can't do it. I can't. And I see your pain. I see that you're hurting. I see the purity. I see the innocence. And so all I can offer is sacred conversations, right? And it's not even that's all as if it's something small because it's huge, right? But it does hurt in the capacity of that also is applied to like people close to me, right? My internet life, this is fucking different. Like,
Yeah.
this is my contribution to like the masses.
Mm-hmm.
But this is even down on a micro level
Yeah.
where I'm like, I can't help my family.
Yeah.
And I also can't be around my family.
Yeah.
And it's like fuck. And and I know it's temporary. So that's also what kind of carries me through is I'm like, I know I will be able to come back.
Yeah.
I will be able to reach back, and there will come a time where I know that there will be, but right now
it's almost like I look at these as like you know how people go backpacking across the country and stuff. They're accessible, but they're not. You know, during like they have to go and experience this in full, and to be able to take all that in. So then when they come back to wherever they're coming to, then they have an understanding of what they can give. Rather than like for me, it's been like I can give and give and give and give, but then what do I receive?
Yeah.
And then when I rejuvenate, it's wrong because the way I do it doesn't look like the way you would do it. Okay, so now all right, guys.
Yeah.
And I try to explain it, or I try to give it, but it's like there's no point anymore because at the end of the day, like I know what's best for me, and all I best for me. And if that's me, if that means that I'm not talking to anyone for a little bit, or I need to go isolate and study and do deep studies on some stuff that my heart is being called for, then that's what I have to do. And it's interesting because it's like you said, like it gets sad. It's like, damn, I feel like you're kind of like leaving people behind, but I always have to go back to like I go into this stoic type of way because at the end of the day, I'm looking at the bigger picture.
Exactly.
So I can minute and I can give you these surface level things, but am I really helping? Am I like impacting my own path by just stopping and being stagnant to help in this world, rather than looking at the bigger picture and being able to say, okay, you know what, let's retreat, let's figure it out, and then come back, and now I can help 10,000 more people.
Exactly.
We're all adults. We're grown.
That's the other thing. I'm like, no, we've grown.
We're grown.
We are adults.
I really have a hard. I'm not gonna lie. I've been having a really, really tough time with being more empathetic towards people who may need it. But we're also grown.
We're grown, girl. This reminds me. Oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
Fine, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just saying. It just I put myself in, like, I've been through this before.
Yeah.
And I chose the latter. I chose to be kind.
Yeah.
I chose to. So I had all these decisions when I could have said, fuck all y'all. Over this shit. I mean, I all the way to the lows of like not wanting to be here anymore. You know, those actually happened, and I chose the latter. I chose to say, like, okay, there's going to be hope. There's light here. There's happening. But so then when I look at people and it's like complaint after complaint, or it's this or that, I just feel like I've been having a little bit of a tough time. Understanding.
You know, I love this. Let me tell you why I love this. Well, two things. One, today I just posted a post. It's from a song. She says, no more Mrs. Nice Bitch. I'm doing damage. Try to be nice, but they took advantage. Like I'm on to new levels. Like it's being nice, and that energy is the least of my fucking concerns. Getting shit done I gotta get stuff done. And if your little feelings are gonna get hurt, and your feelings they're not hurt because I'm doing anything wrong though. That's the other thing. Like your feelings are just hurt. So you just gonna have to have hurt feelings, and that's just gonna be on you to deal with. But I'm doing something. Like I'm busy. Get out of my way. And it just is what it is. But I remember this was when we had my second photo shoot of the year is probably like April. It's probably like April. And we were talking about empathy. We were at your studio.
Oh, we're at my studio. Oh, yeah, I read it.
And we were talking about empathy. And I was on that wave of like, yeah, no, girl, like, I'm struggling. I was like, I'm fucking struggling. Where I'm like, fuck these niggas. All of them drown. I don't care. Like
Oh,
my empathy was low. It was low. It was low. It was
no, I
low. And so, but you were heavy on the like, it's so funny, girl. Cause you were more heavy on the like, you're just sharing your experience of where you were at
yeah,
in empathy
yeah,
and like long suffering in relationships and what that looks like, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like kind of listening. I was kind of like, let me see. I'm gonna see what she on. But now in this season, there are lessons that you taught me
yeah,
then
yeah,
that I'm only now applying, but
yeah,
after going through the period of like, nope.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so now there's this like I found my balance in it of the no empathy. Cause I mean, we're really similar, but I take things to the extreme. So I had way too much empathy. Then I had
No,
no empathy.
none.
None. And now I'm in a good in between where
Yeah,
it's like it's not even I still don't think it's empathy, it's compassion. Like I have compassion for your situation,
yeah,
but your excuses are annoying the fuck out of me. Like
yeah,
you're like this is annoying. Like I can't it's difficult for me to empathize, especially for people who have intimate access to me.
yeah. Yes. Yes, yes. And that's real because that can come from so many different access points, right? Because we have family
Girl.
work with, we have our partners or different people that we've engaged with, encountered with, and it's like you have to like you look at all this and then you start when you really start doing the work instead of being numb, instead of just letting things pass, instead of just well, okay, well it's another day, I'm gonna just figure it out. Like
Mm-hmm.
another day to be powerful. It's another day for something amazing to happen. How do you make that happen? Oh, you have to be aware. Oh, you have to look at your whole surroundings and say, what do I need to make sure this can be cultivated and this magic can be cultivated within me. And it's that intimate access will be the killer. Like I've had family hurt me to the core, and I'm like, and then you get the whole other part of it. Like I've had experiences where I've had like family members hurt me, and I was very clear on how they hurt me, very
Mm-hmm.
real. This hurt. I can't do this. There's no way. And I'm very real. And for some reason, I have like a lot of my family will end up turning around and like, you're wrong for that.
Yeah.
Why you hurt them? Like, bitch.
Yeah. You know what's so interesting on that same point?
Yeah.
What I've discovered is um people will compare
Mm.
they'll they'll compare what I do to what they do. Where it's like they'll be like, well, you hurt me too. And I'm like,
Uh,
oh nigga, like you don't understand that we don't even see and perceive things differently. So the thing that you have identified as me hurting you is a wound that you
mm-hmm.
carry. I did not project anything. I didn't do anything to you.
Exactly.
You did something to me. You said something to me, but it's such a nuanced understanding of energy and
Yeah.
emotions and like mental reprogramming
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
like requires education. And so there's an ignorance
Yeah.
to human connection, human communication, where I had to get to a point where I just had to start telling people we're not the same. So like you can't take, but all you see is when you're in that limited, when you have a veil over your eyes, that's all you see is you.
Yeah.
That's all you can see is you, your experience, how you process
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
But until you have worked on that, cleared the veil over your eyes and have like cultivated the like capacity to be able to zoom out and not only see your perspective but also the other person's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
they're missing the whole fucking point. But there's no way to explain it's
Exactly.
like we're speaking two different languages.
Exactly.
And so once I realized that, that's when I got to the point of like just saying a lot less, where I'm like, I can't, it doesn't even make sense to go there because you're not going to understand it.
Exactly.
And I used to feel bad or like a know-it-all or like
Yeah.
You know, like it's, and then people be like, you don't understand. I'm like, no, nigga, I actually
Really,
really understand. That's, but people try and throw back what you threw to them,
it's like,
and they're like, you don't understand, you don't listen. And I'm like,
okay.
I actually really
And
listen.
that's
That's the problem.
be able to speak on what I'm speaking
Speaking
on, but
on,
it doesn't,
it
it
doesn't
doesn't, uh,
compute.
it was like a, like teaching, like it's like education, right? Anybody who's in here listening, this topic right here, I just read, just to refresh my memory on it, but don't take things personally. It's in the Four Agreements, and that literally what we're saying right now is literally everything that is in that chapter. Like you
Mm,
parts that are just in that chapter, like not taking things personally, but also understanding that when we speak on this kind of level, we're scratching a wound
yeah,
sometimes. And those people who have those wounds, they don't under they're just not going to understand it until they have that journey,
yeah.
until trailblazing the uncharted
They,
of themselves,
they're,
of them, of who they
they
are.
are,
You know, and
and
that
only they can do that.
only they can. I can't guide you into that. I can't give you that. All I can do is support you. All I can do is love you
Love
through it.
you.
All I can do is be open to um be open to what that door can like
Yeah,
hold, like
I can
like
be
that
an example.
big thing of love, like that you can give to someone, is saying, hey, I'm here. Even if you open that door saying, I want to go figure out who I am, I want to go learn who I am, I feel like one of my biggest ways of love is saying, okay, do that and I'll still be here.
Yeah,
That, and even when you get dark,
still
I'll
be
still be here.
here.
I'll still be here because I know you're doing
I
work,
think
important things that you need to do so you can be the person that I see that you can be. And but
what
again, oh,
yeah,
but
what I'm learning, it's been really really interesting.
yeah.
And it's been manifesting the most through the relationship with my mother,
Mm,
where I've been learning to accept her for exactly who she is.
yeah,
Um in this season of her life, with
yeah,
boundaries,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But like not getting, and I'm still untangling it
Right,
in my
right.
mind and unraveling it, but I can see it coming into more clarity.
Mm,
But of like not even holding on to the idea that my path is the best path,
right.
that the path of liberation is even accessible or the proper path for someone to walk down in this lifetime. Because I know what was required,
Mm-hmm,
and I know how difficult it is.
mm-hmm,
And then when I get honest and zoom out even further, and now look at like history, I look at like her
yeah,
history, what she's been through, her
yeah,
age, how long she's been
yeah.
in said cycle, the resources
Mm-hmm,
that she has available, the comforts that
mm-hmm,
she has available. Like there's so many nuances
yeah,
to um to the reality of being able to walk through the awakening journey,
right.
right? And so realizing that, like, my hopeful thinking, my hopeful belief was that everybody can have access, and that it's something that is available
Yeah,
to everybody, and everybody should walk the path of
yeah.
liberation. But I'm realizing that for some people, that won't be the truth. And
Yeah.
so how can I love
Mm,
somebody in that
mm,
space? How can I love someone who may never change?
mm,
What does
mm,
that look like?
mm,
How can I show up for them?
mm.
And so I've been in this space of like, it's been acceptance. Acceptance has been the theme, the full theme that encompasses the whole thing.
Right,
But it's acceptance of also the consequence of that, whether the consequence is good or bad.
right.
So it's looking at it to say, okay, if this is the reality of the situation, if this is who this person is,
Yeah,
I love them,
yeah.
I accept them for who they are, but 1 + 1 motherfucker equals 2.
Exactly.
And so if that is who you
Yeah.
are, if that is who you are going to continue to show up as in this lifetime, this is what you can have access to. This is how much I can give you out of protection and self-preservation for myself.
Exactly.
And as I grow, as I expand, as I heal, those boundaries may shift, those boundaries may
Yeah.
change, my capacity may develop, but I have to remain honest about what currently is, and I cannot enable the behavior by pretending that something that 1 + 1 = 3. That's a disservice to you for me to pretend that we're close when
Right.
we're not.
That's a disservice to them, but it's also a downer on your energy too. Like I had to learn that. I was like, no, no, everything will be cool, everything will be cool. But then it's like I started realizing, like, okay, well, I'm vibrating on this high of a frequency, and because you can't see that, or because you're on the journey that you're on, and I'm so close to you, I end up going back down. And
Yeah.
some people have the strength. Some people work on that
Yes.
strength, to, like be able
Yes.
to, I have
Kudos.
kudos. Oh, super kudos. And honestly, I low key feel like I'm being called to be of that because of my journey and just the environment and the things that I have to surrender to. I feel like I'm at this like this door that's saying, Ray, you can either
Training.
do
Yep.
this, go down this path, or you can be stagnant, and the things that you want aren't going to come to you the way that you hoped for, or whatever the case may be. But it's still, again, still figuring it out and feeling it.
Yeah.
But I did notice, like, because I'm so impacted by energy, if I'm around certain energy for a certain amount of time, my frequency will go right back to that.
Yeah.
And then I start acting very unaligned. That's when I have my embarrassing moments. That's when I say some shit where I'm like, what the fuck did, what, you know, like,
Yeah.
why did you even talk?
Yeah.
Like it's learning that, but it's as much as it's a disservice on for them, it's a disservice on ourselves too, and on our energy, and how hard we've worked to be able to be where we're at and understand it. It's
Yeah. I
so
feel that. I feel that heavy. And like I feel like I was, because I'm the type, I like to push my boundaries of love. I like to see how far can I go?
yeah.
How deep can I love? Why do I do that? Only God knows. And so I had a situation where I was triggered because someone said something fucking triggering. Rude, disrespectful ass. And so of course it was a natural response. But I don't want to go there. I don't like what that feels like in my body. That's not a place that I want to occupy. And so I was like, okay, let me try this again. Right? Let me dive into this conversation again. But this time I'm gonna work on like regulating my emotions. What do I have to do? Does that mean not speak? Does that mean now I'm thinking, fucking hella thinking, as I'm like navigating through the conversation, because I'm trying to make sure that I am like staying centered, because that's what I want. My ultimate goal is remaining connected to myself, with the hope that in me remaining connected to myself, I can also connect with you. But with the connection to myself being at the utmost priority. But what I discovered, that even in that moment, so I had another conversation, and it was the same thing, very triggering because they're wounded, and the things that they weren't personal, but I don't give a fuck. It still hurts for someone that you love to say hurtful and harmful things, even if it's not personal. It still hurts. And so I'm sitting there, I'm just fucking taking it. I'm taking it, but then I'm also sharing in love. I'm communicating in love. I'm communicating in respect. But after the conversation, I felt fucking beat up. I felt beat up. And so I had to go into my space. I had to love on myself. Those things that they said about you are not true. They're going through their own personal experience. Yada, yada, yada. Only for after the fact, I just tell myself it was a seed planted, it was a seed planted, it was a seed planted, and I can keep planting seeds, but still only for after the end of that, still not connecting. It still wasn't enough for truth to be received. It still wasn't enough. Remnants made a dribbled in, right? But coming to a space of like weighing the cost. Is this worth it? Like, is me this it? That conversation cost me. That conversation was a burden to carry, and I carried it with love. I carried it with grace, But even to the point where Aria, she witnessed the conversation, and she's like, Mom, afterwards, and my girl, I love her so much. She was like, Mom, she said, girl, she said, if that was my friend, I would have started throwing hands. I'm like, damn. She was like, I could never have that much patience.
Wow.
And so she's pure.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
pure. And for her to see it
Yeah.
and be like, no, that was not, how did you do that?
How did you
I'm like, why am I doing that?
Why is that?
That's my question.
No.
Why?
Oh, I get it. Oh, I resonate with that so much, because it's you really do feel beat up from it.
Yeah.
You really do feel drained and feel like, what else am I supposed to do? Like, all I can do is give this, because this is as much as I can give in order for me, right? Like, I had a scenario it was like a going back and forth about something, but then I kind of got a little livid, and turned it up a little bit, and I was like, just shut up. Like, and I know it's super light, but it's like, I think for where the conversation was at, it just wasn't super called for. And I had to really sit down and take a step, like, oh, whoa, wait, where are we at? Okay, where's your heart at? Where's your mental at? What are you trying to get across? What kind of point are you trying to make right now? And what can you do that's gonna be a little bit more graceful? Take this back. So also live with that, and also understand that is something that is real. But what do you do? And I find myself in these positions a lot more. I had something like this happen with a couple of different family members in the past, like, couple months, where I just really had to sit back and be like, I'll turn up, and then I'll be like, oh, no, because it's not even who you are. You're doing this because they have shown you how to do this. So now it's extra mad, now it's extra this, but let's take a step back, and who's right again? What kind of message are we trying to give off here? And also, I have this thing where I think about the future too a lot. I think about all the scenarios of how this can weigh out. I could fight you, and then what? Now we both hurt. Now
that part.
I can cuss you the fuck out and say some crazy shit to you and really hurt your feelings. Okay, what is that really gonna do? Is that gonna help your growth? Is that gonna make me feel better? I'm gonna think about that shit every single day, and I'm not gonna know how to let that go. That shit's gonna hurt me to the core. So, okay, it will feel good in the moment, but future tense, not really. And the most peaceful and graceful route, I at least try to, 99% of the time, try to, because at the end of it all, again, I have that little soft spot of knowing that, like, we're all humans.
Yeah.
And as much as I'm going down this path of being something that no one could ever imagine. They oh, you're a star, you're this, you're that. And I'm like, I hear you, but I'm so much more than that. I'm so much more than that, and the blessing, and the gifts, and the work that the universe has for me, that God has for me, that I know that I'm sent here to do, is so much more than this, like, oh, Ray, you're gonna make it. Like, you're gonna but I know that I'm still gonna be doing the work that I need to do to make this happen. And knowing that this is a journey for myself, and knowing how hard this journey is for me, about how hard is this journey for them to see that, and they not doing the same. And they're triggered because they don't know what to do. How they I'm at step 22. We over here, like, okay, we this. So it's like, it's almost like I've been trying to transition myself and my energy into a position of knowing that there isn't many words to be said anymore.
Same.
There isn't much. So if I ever have to go there, it's like, okay, I'll do it for that one time. You get one time out of me. You get a one good time where I'm like, and usually it never really happens. So it's like, I'm very grateful for that, but I can give you one time of, like, okay, we're going there, but I will immediately release. I will immediately, because I know that my energy needs the grace right now. It needs love right now. It needs the understanding right now. So if that's not what it's being given, then what am I doing? This path that I'm taking on, I know it doesn't look like that big of a deal to some, But for me, like you said earlier, it's life changing.
It's life changing.
Life
Yeah.
changing because it's not just for me.
Yeah.
It's for all that are around me that I hold close to my heart, even the ones that are
Even the
putting.
ones.
We've talked about this before. We've talked about like where we want to when the materials start coming in and we're able to live abundantly in that world, what and who we're going to be looking out for and how
Yeah.
out for
Yeah.
them. And
Back to like motherfuckers who like, girl,
exactly,
why are we like this?
yes,
God. It's so much bigger. Like, it's like, and that's the part where I'm like, that's why I've like gone to a point where I'm like,
yeah, it's like what else? What
what
else?
else? Think what you want, feel what you want. Like, it, I'm
Exactly.
busy.
Exactly.
I'm busy. I'm doing something.
Exactly. And that's really, I think that's really what it is. It's like we're really doing something.
Uh,
We're really doing something, and it's so powerful within ourselves, within our lineage, within our next generation.
yeah.
After that, like we're really doing something that's powerful for that, and we're in this really sweet spot of life right now where women have a say so,
Oh,
are being put onto that platter on that pedestal of like, okay,
yes.
you should listen,
Yes.
maybe
Yes.
take heed, maybe you need
Yes.
a little bit of
Yeah.
space,
Yeah. Yeah.
that I'm
Yeah.
20 years ago it wasn't like
Like
that.
that. Exactly.
So I'm very, very grateful for the path that's already been charted, that's already
Yes.
to where we can now line out new paths within that.
Yeah.
Where are we going? What are we creating? And that just goes back to what you were talking about before I hopped on. It was like me and you are creating something that we can lean on each other with, that we
Yeah.
are on, that we know, like, okay, when one person is not here, what can I do to give energy? And
Yeah.
you do it. Oh, you
Yeah.
do it beautifully. Oh, I had no energy yesterday. You sent me that beautiful message, and I was like, wow, thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you, grace. Thank you for giving me patience. Thank you for seeing me and allowing me to live my human experience
Yeah.
while also balancing it out. And that refueled me to where I can give back to whoever else comes around me and back to you. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
such a beautiful journey that we're on. And I'm just so grateful to be on it with someone so beautiful.
You
And so,
too. I know. I keep saying I'm like I got rid of all the takers, and now I'm surrounded with a bunch of givers, and all we
just
do
give.
is give to each other. That's
That's all.
all. And it's like, I'm a giver. I am a fucking giver. And I hate it because I used to think I was an overgiver. I was never an overgiver. I was just giving into the wrong spaces and
Yeah.
environments. And so now I'm in a space where I don't even have to monitor my giving. I can
Exactly.
give as much as I want to give, and I know that I'm not being taken advantage of. I know that I'm being poured back into. I know that I'm being fulfilled. I know that I'm being equally supported. I know that like I can show up for others and others are going to show up in the exact same way just for me. And we're creating this beautiful ecosystem of just like true love and support and other like visionaries and trailblazers. It's like it's the time where we're all coming together. And I'm like, okay, bet. But now I'm in a spot where I'm like, I'm at the space now where it's like I'm running.
Yeah.
I'm running. And so I don't have time to like drag anyone
Yeah. Yeah.
along. I'm running and I'm meeting the other people who are running alongside me. I'm like, hey, you running too? Oh, you running too?
Okay.
And we running together, but there's no time of like babysitting. The
Yeah.
time of babysitting, the time of having to like encourage you to get up off your fucking ass. Like that energy that I had in the last season of my life, I just don't
Yeah.
have it to give right now
Exactly.
because I'm using it. I'm using all that energy to build. And thank you so much. I do believe I am a great believer. I received that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, but yeah, and that has been like my response to like um any type of energy that's like meant to slow me down or meant to
Yeah.
cause stagnation.
Yeah.
My energy has just kept being, I'm building something.
That's
Like
it.
I'm building something. I don't have time to, you don't have to get it. There's a quote, this has been the new quote that I've been living by over the last like month and a half, It is talent hits the target that no one else can hit.
Mm.
Genius hits the target that no one else can see.
Ooh. Ooh. Love that. Oh, I love that. Oh, it's
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah, and so I've just been sitting in that and being okay with that, like being okay with being a genius.
Yeah,
And even claiming it, like I am a fucking genius. And that has been something that I've known
yeah,
forever,
yeah,
but there's been so many people who have like shamed me into like believing that it's not true. But now I see it and I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm a fucking
yeah,
genius." And so now I'm like embodying
yeah.
that truth. Like I am that truth. That truth has I believe it now. So now I'm able to show up as it because I am it. I've always been it. But now I've my mental, my spiritual, my physical, my emotional have all come into alignment with the truth. So now I get to like live in that energy and I know what that cost.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to pay the
No,
cost of it. Like I'm not I know what that shit comes with.
exactly. And that just goes to show with your experience too, because you wouldn't know if you were at step one. You know, you wouldn't know if you were just doing this for the first time. Like you understand exactly what is on the table. You
Yeah.
understand exactly what you need to do, and a lot of that shit people don't even want to see. A lot of that knowledge they want to ignore it and continue to go on the path, and then they have their bumps and bruises, and they you know down for the count. They need a water break. They need whatever they need, and it's
That
like
word.
we're here, we're aligned, and also just to speak on the universe and astrologically too, that's where we're at, right? We're at this space where we're learning ourselves, and it's time to take care of ourselves. There's
Yeah.
not enough care to give to other people. Everybody kind of got to figure out what do we need to do for ourselves
Yeah.
right now. How
Yeah.
do we stand in our divine? How do we stand in our light and really shine it? And what does that look like? We
Yeah. Yeah.
heal all of that. We have the opportunity to heal all of those things that are popping up and being like, okay, I can't take that with me, can't take that with me, can't take that with me because next year I already feel it. I'm like, shit's about to be out of here. Like things are
Yeah.
about
Oh,
to go.
and 2024, just on like a like data,
Yeah,
like 2024 is gonna breed the next set of like that's where there's gonna be a transfer of wealth. So the next best time to become wealthy is 2024. So
yeah,
there's just so many signs that align for the truth of what we've been doing,
man.
and have been stepping into, and now it's just manifesting into reality. And so it's like now's the time for those that have been
Yeah,
preparing. And so it's almost like it's also a waste of time. A
yeah.
waste of time. I mean, and I've been saying that a lot too. Like, don't waste my fucking time.
Oh,
Don't
for
waste my time. Don't do it. That's like the worst thing. That's like the worst thing that someone can do right now is waste my time. Like this dangerous.
yeah,
It is dangerous for someone to waste my time.
yeah,
But I'm also super respectful of others' time as
yeah.
well. Where I'm like, I'm also not gonna waste your
Right.
time. Especially if you're showing up for yourself as
Yeah,
well. Like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna waste your time, but don't waste more time. Don't waste it. Don't waste
But so,
my time.
like, I've always lived in this world, in Ray's world, right? And Ray's world has no time. Okay, the time is like I don't even know what time is, and I just kind of let things go. And I have a lot like I know that I'm different sometimes. Like my mind just does what it wants to do. Because I always find value in any experience that I have. Any experience. It doesn't matter if it was like some stupid ass, dumb ass shit. I always find some kind of value in it. And I've just learned like I think my biggest thing for myself um is I don't want to hear complaining.
Oof.
Like like complaining in general because then that's just festering. Maybe it is time consuming, but it's okay if you need to vent. It's okay if there's
It's
things
there's a
out.
difference.
There's
Yeah.
but if we're just complaining about life and there's like no solution and that's just kind of what you want to give, that is where I'm like, no, no.
No.
Sorry, because I can't fill my mind up with these deposits of blank. There's blank
Yeah.
deposits. There's like no
Yeah.
dollar sign on it. There's no on it. I'm not getting. What are we getting from
Yeah.
this, right?
Exactly.
But um, the I always I try to leave that open, like the time part open for myself, just because I know sometimes like I could be wasting somebody's time and not even know it. Like
Mm-hmm.
on somebody else's world, and I've just been on the opposite end of this too, because I know that the things that I value isn't what everybody else values.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go into certain situations and people, I can just tell, like, they're like, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm wasting your time. Oh, I just, just a perspective. Like, that's what I've learned in my world, because it's like, I know what's valuable to me. So now I'm just like waiting for those invitations. Now I'm just waiting for those. Like, what do you need from me? What do you already see value in me, and how can I help?
Yeah.
And know that I'm going to fill up your time wisely. I'm going to do what I need to do for you. But if I don't have that invitation, then I never really know. So then I'm always like, okay, let me just take a little step.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I feel like for me, mine has shown up in relation to like my creativity, to
Mm,
like my mental capacity, what I do well. So
yeah,
like
yeah,
I've had people ask me for help
yeah,
on something. I put
yeah,
my time, my energy, my mental capacity, and then you fucking don't use it,
yeah.
or like I just can't. I just can't.
No,
I just can't. And so
I,
mine is coming very specifically with like areas that I'm like not done learning, because we'll always be learning, but there are certain places where I'm like, okay, I'm still learning, evolving,
yeah,
experiencing. Everything like is a lesson, very very resonant and similar to what you were sharing
yeah.
about in your experience. But then there's also other areas where I'm like, no 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 no.
We're
You're
not.
you're either ready for me to show up in this space or you're
Yeah,
not. And it's particularly where it comes to like who I am as a businesswoman, who
yes,
I am as a strategist, who I am as a creative director, who I am as a leader, who I am as a builder,
yeah.
in that energy. And honestly, it's been particularly men
Of course,
that I have been feeling this way with,
we've
where
already.
I'm like, you invite me in because you see the value,
Yeah,
but then you want to control the value, or you want to argue with the value that you saw.
yeah.
So it's like that is that space where I'm like I'm drawing like
Right.
hard
Yeah,
boundaries of like, no no no, now I'm vetting. Do
yeah.
you have a plan
Now
before I give you my energy? Before I give you, what is your
that
plan?
part.
And I will let you know if I can assist. But don't come. I've realized that a lot of people will ask for help. They're not asking me for help. They're asking me to do it.
Exactly. Exactly.
No, no,
Exactly.
no, 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 no,
And
no. Mm-mm. And it's
yeah.
men. The women are ready to collaborate. And it's no shade, no
Hey,
shade. Because I
it's
love my men.
I also think
I love my men.
exactly. I think also too, just in my research and studies, I've learned that, like, we're also transitioning to, like you said, like the emotional, or like we talked about before, the emotional state of being, right? So we don't have to do all the rah anymore. We don't have to argue everything down. We don't have to, fuck this and do that and blah, blah, blah. We don't have to do that anymore. Like, we can do things in grace. We can do things in love. We can do things with a question mark and then figure it out later. Like, it's okay.
Okay.
With men, nowadays, that aren't tapped into that emotional side of themselves, it's always a fight. And I'm like, I'm not
I'm not
fighting. Like,
fighting.
I'm just not.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the best business way of doing things. I don't care whatever you think, whatever.
Think.
I don't care, because I'm not going
Do
to
it.
do it, and I
Yeah.
want to argue. I don't want to
And I
argue.
don't need you to do it my way. Like I'm not. That's been like the biggest a difference that I've seen being a woman
Yeah,
in a trailblazer, especially with surrounded by quote unquote
yeah,
businessmen that have their methods that have worked. Right?
yeah,
Like I get it. I understand. I'm listening. I'm
yeah.
listening, and I'm taking pieces from what you're saying and then applying it to my divine feminine nature in the way that I operate.
That,
But the difference that I've noticed is that a lot of men want me to do things their way, but I'm not concerned with them doing it my way. Like, I'm like, you know, I'm not asking you to like
yeah.
do it the way I want to do it, but you're trying to force me to do it the way that you think it should be done. I'm not
That's
doing it. I'm
not the
not
way.
doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not.
We've already done it. I know for
I've
myself.
tried it.
I've tried, and I've adapted my whole lifestyle, my whole mentality, my whole way of working, my hustle mind state with that. And I did it for a long time. Like even like as of recent, I was like, okay, holidays are coming up. Should I get a job just to kind of like weigh things out and everything? But then I'm like, at the same time, like Ray, like you were in hustle culture for so long. I used to work 45 days straight type shit, like on just some like, okay, well, I just got to make sure I pay rent and do this and do that and blah blah. And I'm like, now I'm like, I want to be at so much peace. And I'm like, I know money is a big thing, but at the same time, my peace is a big thing.
Yeah.
And that for myself and in the past that I'm already creating.
Yeah.
You know, what do we do there? And that's the big like I had to compare, like, okay, I remember that lifestyle, I remember what I was doing there, and I wasn't happy. I wasn't okay. I was tired. I was drained. That means I have to go into a space and go be with people that I don't particularly align with, which I already know my energy is already very sensitive. And, you know, like just like knowing myself and understanding, like, okay, what do I do, Ray? Like, how do I do this? And I feel like a lot of men in life that I encounter, they just have that one perspective of like, this is where how it's supposed to be. And I and to be honest, I see a lot of women growing into that as well, because I grew into it, but I chose a path too. So it's very interesting to see where everybody's kind of growing into.
Yeah.
But I'm also very, very sure that emotional intelligence is what's going to save me.
Yeah.
In you know what I mean? And that's why I give so much time and effort into it versus just hustling and doing all the things. And mind you, grind don't stop. Okay.
Right? Don't
I
stop.
don't
But
stop.
it's different. It's so different. Cause I was in that same hustle, the whole hustle culture energy where like I even don't even necessarily feel that I'm like working less than I was during that time. I feel like I'm probably working more, but it's like a mental shift. It's a respect of my body. It's a if I'm tired and something can't get done today, it can't get done today. It's a trust in the bigger plan. It's a trust in the like the big picture, the grand scheme of things. It's not pressure. It's in flow. It's flowing with what is. It is trusting opportunities, not overthinking opportunities. Flowing with what feels good for me. Showing up. It's showing up and not having to feel like I have to show up quote unquote like prepared and knowing that I'm already prepared. It's saying no.
Yeah.
It's saying no and being able to discern what projects are and aren't for me and not using money as the metrics for yes or no, but using energy and my emotional intelligence as the metric of yes or no. It's discerning what opportunities are mine, what opportunities are not. It's creating systems and funnels that work for me. It's collaborating and maybe giving my time for free.
And do you see
And
like all you just listed at least 7 different reasons, right? And all of that takes mental aptitude. All of that takes, and so as much as it's not maybe like the like your normal way of working or like normal way of like seeing people grind and hustle, you're absolutely doing it because you're putting yourself in a position to grow for yourself rather than and just putting in, it's almost like again like just mindless depositing of like energy rather than creating a way to where you can thrive now and in the future. And that's important. I feel like that's one of the most important things is creating that kind of world rather than a world that's gonna, you know, you're gonna get home and be like, well, I don't want to do shit today.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I'd be tired and I'd be, you know, doing whatever I do, but I put in work and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go out, have a drink. Ready?
That part. I feel satisfied.
Okay,
let's
go to rehearsal.
Yeah.
Other things you can stack on top of that because you have a method and a way rather than doing something that your energy is not super aligned with, and then you're kind of adapting to everyone else's culture, and now you're just drained. You're just drained.
You're just drained. There's no inspiration. There's no excitement. There's no joy. It's just tired. You only have tired.
It's
like now I'll go to sleep dead fucking tired, but it's like I go to sleep like fulfilled. Like I go to sleep knowing I gave today everything that I had.
Yep.
but I gave it into the spaces and the projects and the communities and the environments that I desire to give it to. So it's like I go to sleep depleted, like, woo,
Yeah,
I fucking did
yeah,
that. But then I
yeah.
wake up excited to empty myself all over again.
Ooh, didn't we talk? We talked about this when we were in Arizona with the human design class. Uh, how my,
Mm.
anybody who is going through like their own path and they're just trying to like figure out their life in their kind of way, your human design is
It's top,
that's
yeah, human
top
design.
notch, like because it really helps you with being able to balance a work life balance with your
Yeah.
energy within whatever that looks like, right? But we were talking about like how different energy types have like feel fulfilled at the end of the day, and how you drain yourself at the end of the day, so then you can have space and room to wake up and do it all over again. And like
Mm.
there are days where I'm just tired and I just get exhausted versus having I really, really feel like I gave everything and it felt so
So
good and I
good.
felt full and I feel so at peace and now I can rest because I know I did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's just so important. It's just so important. There's so many aspects to all of this. Like we could literally talk about this.
Yeah. Yeah. This has been so good. Woo.
We just went through it all.
Yeah, we just went through it all. So the path, trailblazing the path uncharted. It's a lot.
Yeah,
It's a lot. I was even as you were talking earlier, you were breaking down even how you engage in
yeah,
conversations, how you're
yeah,
thinking about like all of the different scenarios, how you're
yeah,
questioning and asking yourself, what are my intentions? How do I want to show up in this
yeah,
conversation? How, girl, that's work. That's
work.
work. That takes work. And so, one of the biggest things that I want to
Yeah,
leave to those who are watching, to those that are like, you know what, like, I feel like I too am supposed to be walking the uncharted path, or I am walking the uncharted path, or I'm just beginning the uncharted path. It's work.
work.
It's hard. I think so many people see the results. They see the results of the success.
Yeah,
So many people now, they see me benefiting from the last 3 years of my life that were hell. They
exactly.
were
Or,
hell.
or some people, take the do it once or do it twice and then feel like, okay, well I did enough. So I did it, it didn't
It
work.
didn't work. No, y'all. No, y'all. It
Just
takes work. It takes commitment. It takes dedication. It takes refining of your character. It takes learning how to create and maintain and hold boundaries. It takes learning how to humble yourself. It takes learning how to
yep,
listen. It is work.
yeah,
And the
yeah,
beginning years of creating legacy, of building something, take time.
yep,
This isn't a microwave society. Like, business is not, there's no get rich quick schemes. Like, you may see the results of someone who has been putting in work underground for years,
yep.
years,
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
years,
Too.
years.
Like when you see the icebergs in the water and you don't even realize that like more than half of that iceberg is under the water. You can't see it. But you
Yeah.
see fruiting out of this water and everything, and it's like it's massive, but you don't even know how much more massive that work was to get there.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
it's
Yep.
real. It's real.
Yep. So just continue forward. Set your expectations on like it being a fight. Like, you have to be a
Yeah,
warrior. Um, and you can do it gracefully. You can do it with love. But to shatter illusions, to break free from cycles, to rewrite your narrative,
mm,
to create a new story, it requires
yeah,
strength. And we all have it.
mm,
We all have the capacity and the ability, if it's a decision that we decide we want to make. But
yeah,
lean into community, get support.
yeah,
One of the biggest things that I wish that I would have done is lean into the community and the support that I did have during that time, but I couldn't recognize them.
mm,
I didn't know who they were. because I was so trapped in my cycle of thinking that there were people who came along during my journey that did try and give me a hand up, but I pushed them away because I could not recognize them because I didn't know what to look for. And so once you notice and find and identify someone that honestly, in sense, has something you want, and this is not always monetary, they can have peace that you desire to have. They can have confidence that you desire to have. Those are the things that matter. They can have community in the way that you desire to have it. They can be showing up. Oh,
Definitely.
endurance. Oh,
Oh,
those are good ones. They can have dedication, commitment, consistency, fortitude. There's so many things,
I
but
want
when you
all.
see someone that has something that you want, they're just a reflection of what it is that's already inside you that's waiting to be activated. But lean into them, ask them questions, and listen, and allow yourself to be supported as you continue forward. Biggest thing, I wish that I didn't do it alone in the way that I did. And so there are people who are creating courses and classes, and vet that shit, because there's also a lot of motherfucking scammers too. Tune into your body. Like, do I resonate with that person?
Exactly.
Do they speak in a way that resonates with me? But give those things chances. It was the courses that I took that changed my life. It was the things that I learned that changed my life. It was the mentors that popped in and out of my life that changed my life. It was community. So lean into community in the best way that you know how.
Love that. I love that. Oh, I love ending it off there too, because that's so important. That's so important. Not to like we're learning that right now too.
Yeah.
Learning that in such a beautiful way, and just our relationship and continuing to build and grow into other relationships and the other ways that we want to build our foundation. So yeah,
Mm.
love that.
I love you so much. As always.
Always.
And then also, if you're in the Inland Empire or near the Inland Empire, me and Ray are actually doing an event called Is It Love, happening in Riverside, California on November 18th.
Yes.
It's going to be a whole vibe. It's a live studio production where Ray is actually going to also be jumping on saxophone and singing. And we're going to be live recording a live band performance song as well as a music video. And it's just gonna be vibes. There's gonna be food. There's gonna be a DJ. There's gonna be tattooing. There's VIP tables available. Yes, can't wait to see you. It's dressed to impress. It's a whole vibe. You'll be on camera. So come prepared to be a part of this amazing experience that we're cultivating and creating. And get tapped in, because we're both working on a lot of different things. So tap in and find out how you can be a part of what it is that we're building.
Yes, I love that. I said it so beautifully.
Thank you. I've been practicing.
All right, girl.
Yeah.
My head too. I'm like, hold on. We gotta get it
Ma,
right.
what's the point? Straight to the point. Get it there. Get it done.
But it's gonna be really beautiful, and I'm really excited to just share the stage with also another amazing human being, Black Lefty, being able to shine some light on not only an amazing song that me and him did, but his whole album. That's just so good, so good, and I'm just really excited to highlight this in the city and in highlighting different parts of the IE, Mobile, San Bernardino, River.
Yeah.
Just,
It's gonna be so dope. I'll be up there hosting, y'all. You know, I'll be talking some shit. I don't know what I'm gonna be doing. Acting a fool. You know me. But all the love, all the love.
I will see you later.
I know, and I'll see you later. I'll see you later. Oh yeah, Downtown Riverside Art Walk if you're in the city as well.
Yes.
We're gonna be down there jamming, saxophone, music. I might do some poetry. Just vibing. It's a free event, so we're just gonna be playing and creating. So if you're in Riverside, come join us down there as well. All the love. Peace.